Hey YouTube, in this video I'm going to be starting a series of videos here on the Bermuda Triangle deck since they did get a bunch of new cards recently. So I revamped two of my decks that I had, and then I built three new ones because they got so many new cards. So in this video we'll just go over the Duo Temptation Reit or the Restanding deck. Since I think that's the one that's the most hyped, the most anticipated one. And then I guess toward the end I'll go over a couple of basic combos with how to play the deck, or the general way to play the deck. So, start off with grade 3s, 4 Duo Temptation Reit, or Reit, whatever. This thing is the Restanding Vanguard. It's not as easy to restand this card. It takes quite a bit of skill to figure out like how to play the deck at first. In terms of you want to try to get you want to focus on like two different cards that have 3 or more copies in your hand, and then you just have to know like what to guard with and what not to guard with, based on the situation, looking at the damage that you damage check and things like that. But she's a Restanding Vanguard, not as easy to play as say Minerva or Descendant or even Draconic Overlord. She requires quite a bit of setup. And you discard 2 duos if they're the same name, counterblast 2, restand the unit, and it gets plus 3,000. And she also has a Vanguard effect when she attacks, which is not limit break, by the way. She can Soul Blast 1 and bounce a duo to the hand. Next, we have the new break ride that they got, Duo True Sister Meer. She's a pretty good break ride. Unique thing about her is she gives you the 10,000 power without having to counterblast. Kind of like a break ride that is for free, like Transcore Dragon. But the thing is, when she attacks, she gains an additional. When you break ride, when the Vanguard attacks, you gain an additional effect where you can counterblast 1, bounce all your Bermuda Triangle rear guards, and then call 2 Bermudas back down. So that allows you to get a 4th attack that turn, or possibly 4th and 5th, depending on what you have and what your opponent has. So that's the grade 3s. For grade 2s, for Darya, she is the 12k for duos, and then for Duo Mini Heart Rhone, she's like kind of like the tech card that you want to run 3 or 4 copies of. Her effect is actually pretty unique. When her attack hits a Vanguard, you counterblast a duo, and then you can bounce a Bermuda Triangle back to your hand. And then you can get another one of the same card name that you bounced. So, kind of like, I always think of like Brenny Papio or something, where she can kind of loop stuff. Like if you have 2 of her, like 1 on each side of that turn, you can loop her and get more of her. Or you can just get other stuff. Most of the time you're gonna search out like grade 1s or stuff like that. Next, 3, Duo White Crystal Ricca. I like to think of this card as their Girls Rock Rio for the duos. When she's bounced, Soul Charge 1, and then you can unflip a damage. So she doesn't get you an extra card, but the deck has so much draw power anyway with the Restanding Vanguard as well, that really the effect is extremely good because the deck has so much counterblast. You need to unflip as much as you can. So that's the grade 2s. For grade 1s, 4 Duo Shiny Tone Cikola. I think that's how her name is pronounced. She's kind of like a Prism style card, like Celtic or Clear. When she's bounced, you can counterblast 1, put 4,000 on something. This is if you control a Duo Vanguard, you can do that. And then if you have 3 or more of her in the hand, you can reveal them and then unflip a damage. So she has that nice bonus effective unflipping damage. And she powers up, she makes your attacks be able to hit the next guard stage. And then for Duo Beast Ear Lulu, this is basically, I like to think of this as the 9k booster or 11k booster. Most of the time it's going to be a 9k booster, but if you get 2 of them, if you have 2, then it's 11k. So it's still also pretty good. And it has no cost, it just has to be placed on R that turn. So good because there's too much counterblast already. And then I'm running 1 Colima. This is the Quintet wall. and 3 Prism-Duo Aria. This is the Sentinel, or the Perfect Guard. So 3 and 1. Most people just run 4 Perfect Guard and they don't run this because they're afraid of decking out. That's perfectly fine. The only reason why I'm running this is because of the new cards. I'm trying to see if it can actually... There's situations where it's useful. But again, it does use a counterblast. It does make you deck out faster. So keep that in mind if you want to run the Quintet Wall. And then the last grade 1 that I'm running is 2 Duo Clear Parasol Kura. This is the Soul Blast 2 when placed on R to unflip 2. So originally I was running Earl. It helped me deck out, so I took it out and then put this in because it's very counterblast heavy. And then the grade 0 lineup. 4 critical, 4 more critical, so 8 critical, 4 draw, and 4 heal. Some people don't like to run the draw because they might deck out. So in that case, they tend to run 12 critical. I'm not sure why. The only downside of running 12 critical is it reduces your consistency of being able to restand. So that's why I really don't recommend running the critical. If anything, you can try the stands, but the stands don't really work too well with the break ride. So that's the reason why I just went with this. And I mean, very many times I have used 2 of these for the cost for the restand. So I still strongly believe that the draw trigger is probably the most optimal way to go. But you can choose how you want to play the deck. It doesn't really matter. And then the starter is Duo Lover Singer Darling. This is the Duo starter. There's another starter that they got, but I don't think it's really that good. This one gives you an extra 10k shield. Actually, no, this one doesn't give you 10k shield. This one bounces your stuff, bounces a rearguard duo, and then goes to the soul, so you get your Soul Blast. Although nothing in the deck Soul Blast. Oh yes, Kura Soul Blast. So it goes in there for her, and it sets your combos off for your rearguards. So basic combo, basic way to play the deck. Let's say you have something like this and a 12k, and you may have this on there, this, and a Lulu. So let's say your setup is something like this. On your turn, you break ride. Whoops. You break ride. So she gets her 10,000 and then that additional skill. So you attack first with your rear guard lanes, then you attack with your Vanguard. That bounces all this stuff back to the hand. And then you counterblast, well, you counterblast want to do that stuff. And then now you get a choice. You can either call this back and then call Lulu, which is most of the time that's what I find is the most optimal thing to do, because Lulu will be 9k again. And so this is 21 right here. For your 4th attack will be 21. And then your Vanguard's attacking for 21 as well right now. So they do whatever. Depending on what they do, if they're like a 3 damage or something, then they're probably not going to guard. You're going to twin drive and put whatever on her plus 5,000. So then you're attacking for 26. So it kind of forces them to guard a pretty high attack. Or you restand if possible, like if you have 2 cards in your hand to discard and then restand and then attack again. So that's even better. So that's one basic combo or basic setup that I usually go for. The other one is if you have 2 of the 12k, when you bounce everything back, you can, depending on if you're up against a cross ride or not. Like if you're not up against a cross ride, you wouldn't do this. I mean, if you're up against a cross ride, you wouldn't do this. But you can also try to do this too to get an extra attack in. Like even if they have a huge hand, you can still try to do this to pick off a rear guard or something. When you restand, then you can, check a critical or whatever, and then force them to guard 2 attacks as opposed to 1, unless they check damage check. They get like a heal or draw or critical or something, which would kind of mess these up. But at the end of the day, that's usually the common thing to go for. You either have a column like this, or you have like a horizontal line like that. So that's one way to play the deck. Let me know of other combos that you may know that I may have not mentioned here. So that's just some basic guidelines on how to play the duos. And it's a pretty fun deck to play, and it's pretty anti-link Joker too, because of all the bouncing back to the hand. So let me know what you guys think about the deck. Don't forget to subscribe if you like the video. Thanks.